Hello, everyone. It's so special to be here with you tonight. Welcome to what we're calling No Stupid Questions, specifically No Stupid Relationships Questions. I'm Rabbi Bernath, and I'm here with Rebbitzin Holtzkenner. For those of you who don't know Rebbitzin Holtzkenner, she is a mother of 4 children. She is the co-director of the Chabad of Las Olas, Florida. I think I said that right. I said it right.
Las Olas, but that was good. Las Olas. It
Las
means no
Olas, of
wave.
course.
No wave.
Exactly. And there they have a wonderful community of young professionals. She's also a high school teacher and a freelance writer and a frequent contributor to Chabad.org. She lectures extensively on topics of relationships, Kabbalah, feminism, and their application to everyday life. She holds an MS in brain research from the Nova SE University. It's a real honor for me to share the stage tonight with Rebbitzin Holtzkenner.
Thank you, Rabbi Bernath. Likewise.
Very special. Now, tonight, since we're a group of singles, you never know. The magic is in the air. So I want you to go to your name and either put an A in front of your name or an NA in front of your name. And that way, you can also add age range, religious orientation. What this is an invitation for someone to reach out to you, either here or to private message you. You never know what can happen. Again, A means available, NA means not available. Obviously, if someone puts an NA, please respect their wishes. And for those who are available, please be courteous, be nice, be respectful. Of course, if you don't have a profile yet, J Matchmaking, since the Jewish matchmaking has come out on Netflix, J Matchmaking, which has been the #1 place where people come to. Many of you probably found this through J Matchmaking and through the show. And so therefore you can imagine thousands of other people are also have come onto it. And so if you don't, for whatever reason, or a friend of yours doesn't have a profile in J Matchmaking, just make one. It's that easy. It's very easy to make. And right now there are many into the 5 digits, something around 90,000 singles worldwide on J Matchmaking. And that is something great for you. Throughout the class tonight, you are welcome to private message me your questions in the chat. Just find my name, private message me your questions. Also, you can just, if you want to publicly message them, you can also. I will make sure to take those messages. But tonight, we have gotten so many questions, incredible questions, and I'm going to ask them. But before I ask them, what I'd like to do is ask Rebbitzin Holtzkenner to share a few words with us, a couple dating tips or tricks, whatever you have up your sleeve, veteran matchmaker and relationships coach. Share some great words with us.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Bernath, and thank you guys all for coming on, taking the time to join us. Every single person here adds to the group, and it's meaningful to us. We appreciate it. So, they say Adam and Eve had a very easy task. God told them, you can eat from every tree in the garden, just not one tree, just not this one tree. And yet somehow that one tree was irresistible to them. Great question is why? What was so hard about resisting that one tree? And the answer is that since this was their life mission, since they had one mission to withhold from eating from that tree, there was so much temptation around it. It was such a hard thing to do. Meaning anything in life that's difficult for us is an indication that it's part of our singular, or if not singular, very core essential mission. Some people, dating seems to be effortless. Finding their match, their soulmate seems to be effortless, and that's incredible. But for some of us, it is very, very challenging, heart-wrenching, time-consuming, takes so much courage. And it's easy to take that as a sign that maybe finding a net match is not for me. Maybe it's not worth the effort, but the opposite is true. If this is something that's difficult, that shows us how important it is, how this is a core, essential goal that God wants us to accomplish. And God wants us to find our match even more than we want it ourselves. So every step of the way, everything that you do on behalf of this important goal of finding your match, it takes courage, effort, is admirable, and is very much admired by Hashem, by God. Being on this call takes the effort, takes courage, and you're here. And I'm sure everybody does many things on behalf of this mitzvah, this life goal of trying to find that soulmate to live a meaningful, unified life together. So in the merit of the effort of getting on this call, joining J Matchmaking, and everything else that you all do, Hashem should send you that dream, that goal, crossing that threshold of finding somebody that you finally resonate with, brings out the best in you, you bring out the best in them, and despite the challenges, can lead a life together in companionship and love. So that's my pre-Yom Kippur blessing for you all. I stand in awe of all the effort that you've put in already and will continue to put in until the finish line. May the finish line be soon.
Amen, amen. We're really happy to have also with us here tonight the world famous Aleeza ben Shalom, all the way from Israel.
Hello, Rabbi. Wow. How are you? Hi, everybody.
Hello, Aleeza.
I'm popping in. This is like a surprise visit. So excited to see everybody here. This is the J Matchmaking crew, Rabbi.
And more.
J Montreal.
J Matchmaking, J Montreal. Some people from the Chabad of Las Olas in Florida, where Rebbitzin Holtzkenner is the Rebbitzin there.
Spectacular. Fantastic.
Big fan, Aleeza. I'm a big fan.
Thank you.
So Aleeza, before we're going to start asking, we have some amazing questions here from people, like really, really amazing questions. Before that, do you have like a little piece of relationship advice that you can just, a little nugget, something?
A little nugget. Give me a topic. Somebody throw out a topic and I'll give you a nugget of wisdom on that topic.
Okay. Throw it in the chat. A topic for Aleeza.
We need a little kickstart. It takes,
Should we just communication? Someone says.
Oh, communication is so good. So, Rabbi, I don't know that I sent this. Oh, you saw it in one of the chats that I was on. Hold on. Wait, I'm going to pull it up for you just in terms of communication because I really like this and it spoke to me. Okay, so I'm always learning new things. I always have new people that are reaching out. And somebody reached out and said something about IMA. Wait, that stands for, where is it, Rabbi? You have it there?
IMA? No.
No, this is new. Hold on, it's new material. When I have my new material, you'll see, Aleeza in her notebook. So
it's a new rocket book you have. Yeah,
I love it. Oh, the rocket book is the best. Hold on. IMA. I took notes. You just have to, you have a rocket book. You just have to remember which page you took the notes on. Anyway, I'll look it up or we'll look it up after and we'll tell you what IMA stands for because there's too many pages. Oh, there we go. Compiled. No, never mind. Okay. Anyway, this person sent this to me and it talked all about different types of people, and it's specifically related to communication. So I'm going to hold this up so that you can see this chart. And Rabbi, I'll send it to you so you can send it to everybody.
Amazing.
Okay, so first of all, you see different colors. There's different quadrants. And in each quadrant, we have non-assertive at the top, assertive at the bottom. We have relationship orientation, very open, or like task orientation, and somebody who's self-contained. And it gives you a little description of each of these types of communication. There's the Aleeza type, right? The warm and bubbly and friendly and outgoing. And that's the Aleeza type. There are different people who are serious, analytical, persistent, systematic, task-oriented, right? They get things done. And I hire people in my business to do those things. And sometimes when we come up against a challenge in terms of communication, it's, okay, I know what I'm thinking. I know how I operate. And then it's like, oh, that's wrong. No, nothing, not wrong, different. That person is different. I love the word different. In terms of communication, who I am, what I think, how I operate is different, most likely from how you operate. Now, you might find like your personality and your prototype that's like a twin of you in the world. So just for example, Rabbi and I are like, twins in terms of like personality and how we operate. And you might find people that are similar, and then you don't find the opposite. Like we actually sometimes look to like find something we can disagree about so that it'll be more engaging. But you also find people that are very different from you. They bring so much to the table. They probably get under your skin and they irritate you. You're like, oh, and then at the same time, they're beautiful humans who can do something that you totally don't do. They talk about opposites attract, and like the attraction's there, but what about the communication? Communication is at the core and the foundation of every single relationship. So it pays for us to invest 2 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, learn something on communication, try a different style of communication with somebody, try doing their style of communication, right? So I am not the, task-oriented drill sergeant type of communication, but if I'm talking to somebody who's like that, speak their language. When I work with people and I coach them, if I'm talking to a lawyer, sometimes I'll give a lawyer example, or a doctor, I'll give that type of example, or a teacher, and I'll give an example that they can totally relate to because it makes sense in their brain. So know your style of communication, but do a good job of trying to understand what are other styles of communication and learn it, and then practice talking a different language. It's really a different language. They talk about the 5 love languages. Yeah, there's like the 47,000 different communication languages, and learn to speak somebody's language, because when you do that, that's when you have, like, somebody described it, one of my clients said, it's like a mind meld. And I'm like, yeah, they're like, that's what I want. I want to feel like we get each other. And I'm like, yeah, that's good. He said, but you have to practice communicating in a way that's going to bring you guys together. So that is my tip for the new year. And I give a blessing that everybody should have all of the skills that they need, all of the resources they need, and all of the energy that they need to continue through the dating and relationship process. And may each and every one of you meet your soulmate this year.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you for letting me pop in. Pop. I'm going to pop out and say goodbye. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here, Aleeza. Pleasure. So let's get to our questions. We have so many questions. So Rebbitzin Holtzkenner, let's get started. The first question, and we're going to do this completely anonymous. So many of them came in before. And again, if you have questions, you're welcome to put them in the chat, and we will continue going in order of the questions. This question was, I'm very attracted to a man from the community who's now part of my group of friends. I want to tell him, but I don't dare because I'm a woman. I'm afraid of rejection, and I don't know what he's really looking for. He's 2 years younger than me. I'm nearly 30. I've never dared tell a boy that I liked him, and I don't know if that's part of the reason why I'm still alone. What do you say to this young woman?
Am I answering this first, Rabbi?
Yes. Well, I think you should answer this. This is from a woman. This is a woman's issue.
Yes. So I think that there's a combination of factors here. One of them could be a lack of confidence, which is something that you're not alone in that phenomenon. Many women suffer and are growing in that area of lacking that confidence and boldness to say what we feel, to be assertive. But I want to also suggest that there's also a certain modesty or old-fashioned values, which is that a woman should wait, some say, for a man to initiate, to ask her out. Certainly most people believe that a man should be the one to propose. So that old-fashioned chivalry, and maybe that's what you're feeling as well, that you'd like that. You'd like to be pursued. And that makes a lot of sense as well. And I wouldn't squash that feeling in the name of trying to be bold or trying to be confident. So it's really a balance of the two. But I think a practical solution to this that could maintain your dignity, uphold those chivalrous values that you seem to have, would be to go through a third party. It could be a matchmaker, but it could just be a friend who could ask the other person, this person that you have a crush on, that you seem to like, what they feel about you, and then get back to you. It would still be hurtful to be rejected, but not as hurtful as hearing it from the person themselves. What do you think about that, Rabbi Bernath?
So I have two follow-up questions for you on this. The first one is, do you think that a woman should never ask a man out?
Is that, you want to do it one by one? It's hard to say. It's hard to say. I don't think that that's a hard and fast rule. No, I think that there are definitely situations that I would say maybe they're more alternative situations where a woman could forego the chivalrous method of waiting for a man to ask her out, and could take that first step. But what is true in all cases is that a woman could always and should always let a man know in indirect ways that she's interested in him and that she'd like to be asked out. But I think in some cases, even the most direct manner of initiating and saying, hey, do you want to go out for coffee? Do you want to go out for dinner? I think that could be a very valid way of initiating a relationship.
Interesting.
Especially if that's natural to her. If that comes naturally.
Right. I've never had the situation where I've had a woman who wanted to ask a man out, but I've had a situation a number of times, and I would say more recently, where there was a couple that was dating, and the woman was getting really frustrated that he wasn't popping the question. And she didn't want to wait around. And this one woman reached out to me, and I had set them up, and she said, I don't get it. Like, doesn't he get it? Like, no. And so I said, I don't understand. We live in a world of equality. Why don't you propose? Oh, no. Why not? Buy him a watch and propose. Get down on a knee if you have to. I don't know what people do today. And she did it. And he said yes.
Wow. Then that was a great suggestion, Rabbi Bernath.
I mean, so I wonder if maybe we live in a world of equality, and these kind of old world, I know that there's so many people who want those old world feelings, but maybe with all of the joy and the wonders that equality has brought to women and to the world at large, maybe we're at a point where women should also be asking out. It should be equal opportunity in both ways. And maybe a lot of men just are interested, they just don't know what to do. And you can't expect that, and what she's saying is that maybe that's the reason why she's hasn't found her person. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's possible. But
I think it depends on the person. And I think there are many women who very much want that, if you want to say, traditional experience of being pursued, being asked out, being asked to be married. And that's also very valid, important piece of the puzzle. And you can say has validity in Jewish and even mystical tradition. But times can call for alternative pursuits. So like I said, especially if a woman feels comfortable, she doesn't feel like she would be cheated from her experience by taking initiation like that, I think that she should go for it.
So that this is my next question to you. This leads into how do you see that playing out? So you're coaching a young woman to do what you're proposing. Can you kind of give us a little bit of a play-by-play? How would this play out for this young woman?
For the initial dating or for proposal to marriage? For
the initial dating. She's asking about initially dating. This man is in her friend circle. She's interested in him, and he's not getting the point.
Yeah, I think something as simple as saying, hey, would you want to go out? Would you want to meet up one day? Would you want to meet for coffee tomorrow night? Would you want to go hang out at this party together? Would you want to go to the game? The issue is that he may not understand that she's coming from a place of pursuing a romantic relationship, where if the situation was vice versa, it would be more clear that she was being pursued romantically. When she initiates, it could be mistaken as a friendly social interaction.
Yeah, that's interesting. So what you're saying, if I understand you correctly, is that there's a lot of people who would take that as a friend zone, because it's a big issue in our society today, where the request from the woman maybe is not romantic, but rather a request is a friend zone.
Yes.
It's more platonic.
And a man could think, well, I've kind of made it clear that I don't want to pursue this romantic relationship. If you're initiating, maybe you're coming from a place of wanting to be friends. In his mind, it may be clear that there's nothing romantic, there's no spark between us. But as a friend, yes. Which is why I think a third party could also be useful to kind of weigh it out, get some data about where his head is. And if there is some opening and potential, then even if he does think it's just a social interaction, that could lead to a more romantic unfolding of the relationship.
And how would that third party? So a lot of people don't know. So here you are, you're a matchmaker, and people can ask you to be their matchmaker. So if somebody was interested in someone, how would they go? Like, what do? You just call up Rebbitzin Rochel Holtzkenner, I'm interested in this person. What do you do? How does this process work? For so many people here, this is completely foreign.
So I love when people come up to me at a party. I just had this actually on Rosh Hashanah. The first night of Rosh Hashanah, a friend of mine said to me, Rochel, what about this guy? What about that guy? What about that guy? And some of the people that she was interested in were much younger than her, like 15 years younger than her, or for other reasons could have been a realistic suggestion. But I said to her, I am so happy that your mind is wide open to possibilities and that you want me to pursue. I will pursue every single suggestion and want that you have.
Oh, we just lost her. Okay, I wanted to hear the rest of that story. That was fantastic.
Whoops, was that just me? Was that just me, or that was okay? Sorry, my Zoom shut down for a second.
Okay.
Was that just me, or was everybody?
No, we lost you for a second. We want to hear the rest of the story.
Okay, the rest of the story. Yeah, so I said I'm going to go up to everyone, and what do? I just say, I don't know if you met my friend so and so, or if you saw her, would you be interested in going out for coffee? On going out on a date with her, or going out for coffee with her? And they will tell me right away. Some of them will say no, she's very nice, but not for me. And if any of them say yes, then I'll get right back to her. So it's just as simple as asking them, is this a person that you would be interested in pursuing the possibility of dating or having a romantic relationship with?
So let me understand this. You're at Rosh Hashanah and you became this woman's wing woman.
Oh, this started long before Rosh Hashanah. This is something that's I view as my job. This is my job. If people don't go over and interact with each other, that my job is to feel people out. It's like, playing Jenga. You got to find the pieces that are soft enough to try to manipulate and move around. If there is any potential for a date, then I want to push it. I want to try to make it happen.
Fantastic. Okay, here's the next question. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
How do I know she is the right one? How long does it take?
The $1 million question. This is, we need Aleeza back to come back on.
Right. Do you think there's any signs that he, I guess he's asking the question. I'm just taking the question based on itself. Do you think there's any signs that someone will know that this is my person?
Absolutely. At the base level, I always think if I like a person and I am somewhat attracted to them and they like me and they're somewhat attracted to me, that's a winning lottery ticket. How often does that happen? There's got to be some synchrony here, or like we like to say, the hand of Hashem. Hashem seems to be pulling the pieces of the puzzle together, because for me to like him is a miracle. For him to also like me is also a miracle, and that should happen in synchrony. So that's already something to open up my eyes and say, why is God setting me up in a situation that has this momentum? I need to pursue it, especially if it's not something that happens regularly. Maybe for some people, they're always falling in love and everybody's always falling in love with them. Then maybe they need to, to really be more cautious. But for most people, it's very hard to get that Rubik's Cube in order. So when a situation has mutual potential, definitely worth pursuing. Those situations don't come by frequently, and worth really seeing if they could unfold. Sometimes they fall apart, they collapse, and then not for me. But if there is potential, even if it's not the most hot, passionate relationship, it's there's something good there. There's something solid there, and worth letting unfold.
It's amazing. I'd like to add to what you're saying that we never really know 100%. But we have to, what you're saying is that you have to trust in Hashem and trust the process and trust that this is right. If you don't have, I don't want to say if you don't have any reasons that it's wrong, because you can weigh, I mean, there's processes to weigh the pros and the cons, and a good matchmaker coach can help you with that, where you go through the process and say, this is my person because yes, not just because, oh, I'm over the top and it's romantic and I'm in the honeymoon stage and everything is just wonderful. So I think there is a process.
Absolutely.
Let's go to the next question. Maybe we'll go a little more rapid fire here because we have so many questions. The number 3, my ex-fiance broke up with me a month before our wedding. I am heartbroken and disappointed. Can you give me a bracha to find my zivug? And she actually puts her name here. I won't give her name.
That is so painful. Wow. Well, I better to be heartbroken than to have broken somebody's heart. And even within being heartbroken, there's a tenderness there, a humility. Like the Rebbe of Kutsk said, that there's nothing as whole as a broken heart. Right. And boy, do you have a broken heart. So I bless you that in all that empty space between the cracks of your heart, you should see Hashem's blessing and light flow, and not to take it personally. And I'm sure that's much easier said than done. But to trust that just like after the broken tablets, there were the whole tablets that were better than the ones that were broken, better than the ones that were broken when they were whole, that you will move on to something even better. And I'm so sorry for what you went through.
Amen. Amen. And just to be able to hold the space and to be able to share that. As the great Rebbe Leonard Cohen said, there's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. So from the crack, let's see the light.
Amen. And for everybody, even those who didn't have such a dramatic crack in their heart, everybody's heart has been broken, maybe just by all of the attempts to pursue their soulmate, and so many disappointments, and all of those cracks should generate light.
Yeah. really feeling for you. And if there's anything we can do to help, let us know. This next question. I'm 50 and I live in South Florida. South Florida. You like that place.
Go South Florida.
In Montreal, we always say that we're a suburb of South Florida. At least at certain times of the year.
Certain times of the year.
I always attract the emotionally unavailable men. I feel like most people today are not seeking quality, but quantity, and treat you like you're an Amazon package.
Unfortunately, there is a lot of validity to that. I see someone put me too. So exactly what I was saying. I would challenge you and everybody who's had this experience to think about what you would have to sacrifice in order to meet, date, and be attracted to the men who are not like that. And again, this in broad strokes and painting unfair stereotypes here. But at risk of painting unfair stereotypes, there is perhaps some allure to that kind of macho mentality. And giving that up and looking for a whole new set of tools and a whole new personality type that's maybe more gentle, more sensitive, that maybe doesn't have some qualities that are attracted to you. So what would it take? What compromise would it take on your part to open up to the type of man that has what you want in terms of being willing to look deeper, but may not have you want what you want in terms of a certain masculinity that you may have always thought you needed and were compatible with, but maybe there's another type. What do you say, Rabbi Bernath?
I love that. I love that. I think that you're spot on. And I always say tongue in cheek that, if you're not emotionally available, just don't clog up the system. It's okay. You don't have to get married. Nobody's forcing you to get married. Just don't start being disingenuous with people who really do want to find their person and do want to find a life partner.
But do you think that there would be a person that would own up to that title of not being emotionally available and therefore not clog up the system?
Well, that's a person I would want to help. Or a person that say, well, I kind of want someone in my life, but I don't know where to even start. Maybe I am not emotionally available because I've been doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, which some people say is a definition of insanity. And if I've been doing it for so long and I keep on expecting that something's going to happen and nothing happens, well, maybe I should change the way that I'm doing it.
Yes, agreed, without letting that thought make a person feel defeated.
Very good point. Yes. Yeah. This is an interesting question that came in. How do you suggest asking a friend or someone you know to keep their eyes and ears open for you? What info do you suggest sharing with them so they can know what to look out for and be most on target for you? I love that question because I believe in quality matches, not quantity matches. So many people say, just send me another one. No, we want quality. We want to find the right person. So the person's asking, what are the systems? What are the ingredients for that? What a great question.
What a great question also, because asking friends to look out for you takes a lot of courage and vulnerability, and especially if you've asked them before. But it's such a good idea. And don't worry about harassing them or bothering them. Most probably they don't feel burdened by you reminding them to look out for them. And if they do, it's okay also.
Yes.
You need to do you. So that idea of, probably thinking to yourself, they probably don't have anyone for me. If they did, they would have told, but I'm still going to put out those feelers. I'm going to do my effort. to use the Hebrew lingo, I'm going to do my hishtadlut, is so valuable. It's advocating for yourself, and you just never know who will remember or be reminded of you when they meet somebody that could be a potential date or potential spouse. So 90% of it you're already doing by having the courage to reach out to friends and acquaintances and tell them, I am looking to date for marriage. Please have me in mind. Or I know I spoke to you about this a few months ago. I want to remind you that I'm still on the lookout. And I know Aleeza had given this suggestion in a video that she had done a few months back, which was to make a beautiful profile using Canva or another format that has a picture of you and some information, but not just a regular profile, to actually make it nice, make it something that you kind of look at it and you're like, oh, you already get a feel for the person. I love that idea, and I've suggested it to people. So maybe that could work as well, to give them something easy that they could forward to another person that kind of radiates you just by the look and feel of it.
Yeah. I think also when it comes to setting someone else up, just like you said, the hishtadlut is putting yourself out there is such a difficult thing. I used to say the hardest job in the world is matchmaking. I don't say that anymore. The hardest job in the world is dating. Dating is the hardest job in the world. It is so difficult, constantly putting yourself out there, constantly facing rejection, constantly having, it's so emotionally, physically, financially, it's draining. So also what's fascinating is that most people will find someone in their friend circle. They'll find someone from friends. So if you dated someone and they're a great person and they're not for you, think of a friend right away. Think of a friend and set them up. Don't be scared. Now, if you're a friend that you want your friend to set up, I would say specific is terrific. Make sure your friend knows something specific about you that they will always have in mind. Oh, that's the specific person. The more specific, the better. I would say,
yeah,
on top of that, make sure your friend knows, what are you fixed on? What are you flexed on? Fixed or flexed? What are your non-negotiables? What are your negotiables? I think those two things alone would allow somebody to be able to set you up with it. It's interesting. As I'm talking here, and as Rebbitzin, as you're talking, people are asking, do you have any other avenues to meet people? There's a great new app that just started, and I've been playing a lot on it. I don't know if Rebbitzin Holtzkenner, if you've been playing on it, but it's called Loop. And it's a way that you can make a profile there and your friends can set you up. So I'm there, obviously happily married, and I'm setting people up. It's really, really fun. And you just put your friends network on there and you can set up friends of friends. Really, really great.
That's amazing.
And
I've got to check it out.
And I think that there's no single way to meet people. J matchmaking is another way, through individual matchmakers like Rebbitzin Holtzkenner. These are all different ways because everyone has different networks, and you have to try as many ways as possible, whatever it takes. You have to put yourself out there. It's the hardest job in the world, and I'm sorry that you have to go through it, but Hashem will help you.
And I like what you said also, that it's so interesting that people will find matches that are within their friend circle, which makes sense because there's a lot of similarities within people's friend circles. But I think that, our lower self, or the part of us that's pessimistic about our future, sometimes feeds us unconscious messages like, it's, maybe I do have a match, but he or she is on the other side of the world. And what are the chances that we're going to interact with each other? Like it says in the Torah, it's not on the other side of the ocean. It's not in the heavens. It's something very close to you. And of course, that thought that even if I do even if I could match with one person, how would I ever find them? That's not coming from our soul-based perspective on our lives, because our soul perspective is full of that faith that God not only wants me to meet somebody meaningful and special and my person, but he's also going to give me the opportunity to meet him or her. Now, I know that's easier said than done. And many people on the Zoom call could say, oh, yes, I had that opportunity. Well, I tried like hell and I didn't find it. I turned over every stone. And I believe that. But it's not over. It's not over. The pursuit is not over. That's why you're on this call. And that means that it's not only possible, but it's accessible. And sometimes that means, it kind of lowers the bar in a sense of, okay, he or she is here. So I'm going to put out my feelers, whether it's speaking to people or using the internet or an app, but it's there. It's somewhat close. It's not impossible.
So agreed. Here's another question. Maybe we should go through these questions because they're coming in so quickly. I don't think we'll get to all of them tonight. So let's try
we'll have to do a part two, Rabbi.
Yeah, let's do. But let's
have to do a part two.
So these next questions, we're going to answer in 90 seconds or less. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. What do you suggest for a first date in person? Time of date, type of activity, formal or informal? What do you say?
I would say something in between formal and informal. Informal in the sense that you don't have to spend a lot of money, but formal in the sense, put your best foot forward, try and look and dress your best, and try and view it as something that has weight and potential. But again, informal, you don't need to invest a lot of time or money in something that's just a first date.
Yeah, I would agree. I also don't like just first dates. There's no way to unawkwardize a first date. It's a word that I just made up. It's always going to be awkward. First dates are awkward. They're weird. That's what it is. Do a second date. The first date, make sure you can talk and talk and talk. Make sure to listen too. And the second date, shared experience.
Nice.
You need a shared experience because you have to see how you are, because most of life is shared experiences. And you want to see how you are next to the person. And you're going to see there's going to be a different chemistry when you're doing something together.
Nice. So to do an activity together as a second date would be your recommendation.
Absolutely.
A first date as something more.
I would say that first and second date, that's really one date. I don't consider that 2 dates. I consider that one date. First date, awkward. No way to, whatever you do, it's going to be awkward. Second date, shared activity.
So not to have such high expectations from that first date.
Great point.
Definitely don't walk away saying there was no chemistry. I don't see any potential. Expect there to be zero chemistry on the first date.
Expect zero. And not only that, but what you walk away from when you walk away from your second date, if you're not asking, will I marry this person? That's like going from 0 to 10 or 0 to 100. You're saying, am I interested in this person? If you're still interested, go on a third date. That's all you want. See, we're skipping 50 steps. Relax. If you're interested, find out more. In anything in life, I would say if you're interested, find out more.
That makes a lot of sense.
Someone says it's hard when people are looking for instant gratification. It's hard, but we can only control ourselves. Yep. Okay, next one. What are your thoughts and advice on dating someone who has broken off an engagement? Are there any specific questions you should ask that person or be worried about?
I would try to do a little bit of investigative work without gossiping to try to find out whether this is a typical pattern that the person that broke the engagement has that would indicate that they're afraid of commitment, or if it was just experience like we've all had, where we've made mistakes, where things went wrong, where we thought we were going in a certain direction and then we were rerouted. That could happen to anybody. But if possible, to try to see from other people, let them know you're not looking to gossip, but you'd like to know if you feel that this was indicative of a fear of commitment. If that's not possible, then when meeting the person, trying to ask them either directly or indirectly whether committing or not committing is something that has been an issue in past dating experiences.
Right.
What do you say, Rabbi Bernath?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Okay, next question. Do you have any tips or suggestions for ways to find more virtual dating events? I live in South Florida and I'm modern Orthodox.
Well, if you live in South Florida, the third most Jewish state in the United States of America, you're lucky that there are so many in-person events. And in-person events, as we all know, take a lot more effort to attend, but are very, very useful in getting a full picture of the person that you're meeting. So if you're hiding behind the screen and only wanting to put in enough the effort that it would take to go to a virtual event, then I would encourage you to try to break through and take that leap of faith and push yourself to go to more in-person events. But assuming you're a person that already goes to in-person events and is also looking to do virtual events or virtual dating, then that's also good. And you could even argue that there's a certain advantage in that as well, because when you're getting to know a person behind a screen, then theoretically you are getting to know their personality and their mind before you see you see whether you're physically attracted to them. So that could work out, and certainly has worked out in thousands, if not millions, of cases of meeting a person virtually and then in person. I don't know if that answered the question.
Oh, I think that's absolutely great. Yeah. Okay, next question. I get that we all have flaws. How do I get past some of the annoying things? For example, he doesn't compliment me or treat me to a nice dinner, doesn't ask me questions about me. Am I expecting too much? Do I need to say something and educate?
You're not expecting too much. Those are things that everybody wants, and that may be your love language, words of affirmation. So in that case, even more so, it's not unreasonable to want to be loved and to want to be shown that. But I would say in most relationships, correct me if I'm wrong, Rabbi Bernath, certainly in my relationship with my spouse, which I consider to be a very successful relationship, there was a tremendous amount of teaching, both from me to my husband and him to me, of how we would like our spouse to express our love and affection to us. What is our love language? It was certainly not something that came naturally. Not only did it not come naturally, but even the first or second or third time that we tried to work with each other, it wasn't successful. Took many, many practices and failures. So to expect that a person would literally meet you where you're at and be able to kind of hit the target immediately and just know how to light your fire naturally, that may happen, but it's very, very rare. So if you see there's potential, like you said, Rabbi Bernath, that is something that many, if not most, men have learned, and most women have learned how to meet their spouse's needs in other ways. But certainly that focused attention and words of affirmation is something that for most people needs to be taught and retaught before they really get it and could turn each other on in the most direct way.
That's great. That's great. Relationships require being vulnerable. They require accepting influence. So when you accept influence, that's exactly what you're doing, is you're allowing that person to influence you. If you can't accept influence from your partner, then there's no relationship there. And so what you're doing in this particular case is you're actually testing the grounds early on for maybe what possibly could be. Obviously, don't overstep. Don't pretend like you're an old married couple when you're on a second date. But at the same time, it'll be interesting. There's a psychologist named David Snarsh, and he talks about differentiation. which is your ability to be authentically yourself while in a relationship. And so if that is who you really are authentically, that's okay. And so bring that to the date and broadcast that and let it land. See how it lands for the other person. And then you'll know, is this person flexible, open, humble enough to be able to accept influence? And that's really good. And that's a really good indicator if there's someone who can be in a relationship.
And speaking of that, that scenario that the questioner painted before, instead of coming on directly and saying, I really would like for you to be more complimentary to me, which may be 100% appropriate in a married, between a married couple, but could be a little touchy in when it comes to dating. To like you said, put yourself out there and let it see how it lands. Could maybe look something like sharing a story about how somebody was complimentary to you and how that made you feel, and see if the other person is kind of getting the memo that this is something, oh, okay, note to self. This is what talks to her. So without directly trying to fix the other person, by being very vulnerable and confident in who you are and what you need, and expressing that without threatening the other person, that could be a good way to feel the person out and see, are they open to influence, to my influence in particular, or are they closed to it or just clueless in general?
Yeah. Fantastic. Okay. What is your advice on how to develop physical attraction to a person, chemistry, spark? And is it even possible? I, quote unquote, air quotes, friend zone many good guys because I don't feel physical attraction.
I'd love to hear your answer to this question, Rabbi Bernath, but I'll start and then you'll continue. We have a very, very, very high expectation of physical attraction in our culture, and an expectation that it should come on quickly. So the definition of physical attraction could range from looking forward to meeting the person or to meeting them again, to being just full-blown excited, turned on, passionate by a person. And again, every movie and every billboard and every advertisement is showing that full-blown passion between genders, between couples, and the subtle or not so subtle message is that that's the way it should be. And that's what other people are experiencing, and they're experiencing it early on. And therefore that's normal, and that's what I should expect. And that should be my bar for entry into a relationship. But in reality, for many, many, many couples, the attraction started as a low fire and increased. And you know what? Continues to fluctuate, and which is a blessing. A blessing meaning to continuously have a high fire, or to have that as a part of a relationship, is a blessing. So the difficulty in answering that question is for us, all of us living in 2023 who have such high expectations, to even suggest that it's perhaps not necessary to pursue the relationship, that a little bit of attraction could be sufficient and could grow, is almost like, it hurts. It's like counterintuitive. It's like asking a person to cut off their limbs, or to give up on a dream. And I don't want to be the person to say that or suggest that. But I will share that for many, many people, attraction starts off as excitement or enjoying another person's company. And that could 1000% grow to be a full-fledged attraction. So if you're willing to take that leap of faith, it's possible and probable that it would grow. assuming that this person is a person that you value and respect as a person. Please weigh in, Rabbi Bernath.
It's great. Well, one of the things that I'm really working on, since it's before Yom Kippur and this Rosh Hashanah, and we're always thinking about new things that we want to take on. So one of the things that I've taken on this year and I'm working very hard on is really truly listening. So often when people ask me questions, I fail to listen. And I'm always formulating my answer, especially like even in a session like this, like as you're talking, I would be formulating my answer, what I'm going to say next. I'm going to jump in and have, my next answer. So I'm really working so hard now on actually listening to you and listening to your answer and really taking in and letting that land. And then so not really formulating my answer. So it's fantastic.
No, but we want your answer. That resolution doesn't apply to this Zoom call, Rabbi Bernath.
Okay, thank you for absolving it. I still think it matters. I sometimes wish when I set up couples that I could go on the date and I could go behind one of them and take a little firecracker and light it and all of a sudden say to the other one, look, there's sparks. If you want a relationship that is going to last 2 hours, then follow the movies, because that's how long relationships last in the movies. But if you want a relationship that's going to last a long time, where are you going to be if everything is perfect today? Where are you going to be in 20 years? It needs to develop. It needs that process. It needs to develop over time. And that's okay. It's really okay. You don't have to have it all figured out now. You don't have to be 100% attracted, just interested. If they absolutely are despicable in your eyes and beauties in the eyes of the beholder, and you are totally like, no, then you have two questions you're going to ask. Is that really what I'm really attracted to? Or is it because, like you said, Rebbitzin Holtzkenner, that the society has created this absurd and improbable image of attraction? Or am I really not attracted to them? And then it's a no, and it's a red flag, and move on. But you have to really check that and allow yourself, be real with yourself, be authentic, be true to yourself. Okay, here's another one, a really good one. I'm in North Carolina. Hi, North Carolina. Not far from South Florida. I mean, at least compared to Montreal. Recently divorced. I was married to a Catholic, and now I finally am really interested in meeting someone who connects to my Jewish roots. Unfortunately, there's no eligible men that meet that criteria. How do I meet?
Good for you for making that a criteria. Yeah. Very smart and very principled.
Yeah.
And may require some sacrifices in terms of traveling. So thank God for the World Wide Web in order to help you find a Jewish soulmate, find your soulmate who is definitely a Jew if you are a Jew. And I would use that as a vehicle to see if there is potential in a relationship. And after video chatting, calling the person on the phone to jumpstart the relationship, it will require taking off time from work, a plane ticket, all of those sacrifices that God certainly appreciates.
Yeah, it's hard. That's really hard. But I think it's important for you to know that there is someone out there for you. There really is. And that person is waiting for you or looking for you just as much as you're looking for them.
Wow, that's beautiful.
There really is someone out there. Maybe I would add to that. You are 50% of your relationship. So you already have 50% of your relationship. You're just looking for the other half. And that person really exists. The moment you give up, you're not just giving up on yourself, you're giving up on them. Giving up on yourself, you can say, okay, fine, you can start justifying giving up on yourself. But why would you give up on this wonderful person who's waiting for you or looking for you? They're out there. I really, really, truly believe there's someone there for you. I have seen in my lifetime so many incredible stories, and it happens when you least expect it. It's not the person you were looking for. It's not, it's just that. It's unbelievable. So continue doing your work. Don't give up. You can't say, I live in North Carolina and I'm in a remote place and there's nobody Jewish here. There is somebody Jewish here. When I moved to where I live in NDG, every single person, and to this day, people say, am I the only Jew in NDG? Why do all the Jews always think they're the only Jew wherever they are? No, there's other Jews. It's okay. You're not alone. And if you're looking for somebody Jewish, I commend you, because that is unbelievable. But there's someone there and they're looking for you.
I think that faith and optimism is so core. And I'm sure it gets shaken every single day that a person is trying and their efforts fall flat. But holding on to that faith it's energizing. And spiritually, it's also so important to hold on to that faith that there is somebody for me. I'm 50% of the relationship. I don't want to give up on myself, and I don't want to give up on them. Yeah. And there's a God who has it planned, who loves me and wants to see me together with the companionship and love of my person.
Thank you. Here's on topic. Here's another question that came in. I wonder why God has made my journey to find my soulmate so long. I've done all the right things, reached my highest degree, successful at work, helped my family, and told a few years ago that I will not be able to have children. Everything else has come with hard work, but this partnership has been destroyed and delayed. I'm sure there has to be a reason.
My heart goes out to you. Incredibly challenging. Putting your pain to the side for a second, with your permission, it's a societal problem as well. That there's so much emphasis put on people securing their careers and other parts of their life with the expectation that finding your soulmate will just happen naturally, inevitably, without any effort. And that it doesn't have to be pursued, and it doesn't have to be pursued with a sense of urgency. And many people are suffering from that breakdown in the value system of the Western world, or the world at large. And I'm sorry that you have to be suffering from that. But to circle back to the beginning, the fact that it's challenging means that this journey is an essential part of your life goal. And we do not know why our path in life, our journey, our challenges take on the form that they do. It's part of the mystery of creation. But there is a reason, like you concluded. There is a reason, and you may never know the reason. Just like I can look at some challenges in my life and say, I will never know why this happened. Some things just can't be undone. Like you can't turn back the clock. And yet, if this is your journey, if your journey is to find your soulmate and not have children or not have biological children, then that's exactly the life that God wants you to live. Not the life you chose, not the script you wrote for yourself, but this is what God wants from you. And I would encourage you in the challenge, with this challenge of looking for a soulmate and the hopelessness that can come with it, to tap into the gratitude for what you do have in your life, be it health, if it's friends and family, and almost think to yourself, what if I didn't have that either? But thank God I do have that. And I'm grateful for that.
Mm.
And that enriches my life. And now I want something that will enrich my life even more. But God, I'm walking in the path that you set out for me. And I know that that's going to be a meaningful path. But Hashem should bless you and everybody with transformative luck, transformative mazel, to be able to reach the goal without jumping through hoops and pushing through barriers. And that whatever dreams that you have to give up on, if that is the case of giving up on the dream of having biological children, that you should be able to see the good in that, and to find some solace and never underestimate or look down on the quality of your life because it doesn't look the way other people think it should look or the way you yourself thought it should look. It looks exactly the way God thinks it should look, and it's solid gold.
Amen. I love that. It's solid gold. Yes. So we have we have 32 questions and 28 minutes. Less than that. 23 minutes left. So we're not going to get to all of them, but let's see if we can get to a bunch. At least we don't want to keep too many of these hanging. Okay.
Okay, let's do it. Let's try.
Let's try. I feel that some of the men who have proposed just want to get married, but I feel that they don't really know me, and it's pretty superficial. After dating a few times and dating out of town, the man proposed. When I suggested that I move to his town to get to know each other, he rejected and said, "If you don't know by now, you'll never know." Was he right?
I don't know. I want to know what town you live in.
Yes.
This, and you've met multiple men who are quick
have
to
proposed.
This is unbelievable.
We want your magic. We want your magic. Unbelievable.
Because as I'm sure you know, most people complain of exactly the opposite, men that have resistance proposing.
That's amazing.
So yes, it is. So I would not be critical of a man who proposes too early, in your opinion. I think that could be that. I think that is a good sign. Somebody who wants to jump into a committed relationship and work things out once they're in the committed relationship. At the same time, you don't need to throw away your your sensibility or your instinct of wanting to develop the relationship more. I think if you come from that perspective of, I respect the fact that you want to get married and that you're choosing me. And I would like to get to know each other and build a little bit of more trust, or a lot more trust, before we take that next step. I think that could be validating to yourself and to him. Somebody shared a story recently, true story, about a couple that got married in Israel, and shortly after the marriage, I think it was a few weeks or a few months later, the wife suffered a terrible accident and had to have both of her legs amputated. Terrible story. And she turned to her husband and said, "Would you have married me if this happened 6 weeks before our marriage?" And her husband said, to be honest, I don't think I would have. 6 weeks before we got married, I would have said, "I love you. I'm wishing you the best, but I'm not signing up for a life of being married to somebody who's so handicapped." But now, this accident, it happened to us, not to you.
Wow. It happened to us. That's marriage. Wow. Yes.
So maybe that's where these guys that are proposing are coming from. If we can work out some of the things that need to be ironed out as an us, then we'll be coming from a place of great, even greater strength than working it out as two separate islands.
Okay. Can you please elaborate what indecision or ambivalence is about? I just can't get to yes. Or I'm unsure. I keep thinking that if it was the right guy, I would be more confident and happy. Your thoughts?
I definitely want to hear your thoughts about this question as well, Rabbi Bernath. We're not going to let you get away with it, with not answering this. But if this is happening to you, may be 100% correct in your ambivalence or anxiety. Maybe this person is truly not for you. Maybe you're sensing things that are scaring you off about entering into in the relationship, and that sense of that could be the gift of fear. But if this is happening, if this is a pattern, and you see that very often you appreciate this person that you're dating, and yet you have ambivalence, fear, which leads to ambivalence about taking the next step, making the relationship exclusive, or continuing to date, then you want to take ownership and say, okay, this is a me problem, and there's something blocking me from living my best life. I want to do myself a favor and do my soulmate a favor by trying to work through that. What do you think?
I couldn't have said it better myself. It sounds like the questioner is really intuitive, and if you're intuitive, you got to trust your intuition. If you're feeling ambivalent for some reason, then either ask it or do something about it. Maybe you need more information. Maybe you're not ready yet. Maybe you have unsolved issues yourself, or unsolved issues with the relationship. But in any case, trust your intuition. There's something missing here. I have a question for you. I have a very weird case. This is how the person says it. I just want to know how to handle a relationship with this type of man. I broke up with him 3 times already. How do you deal with the narcissistic man who keeps coming back? One day he says, yes, I want to get married and have kids with you. Another day he says, I can't offer you more than once a week to see each other. I don't want any attachment. Another time he's asking, what do I think about an open relationship? I just want to hear I just wants to hear my opinion on that. But he doesn't explain why he's asking these questions, and he's offering this type of a question. A man who always is saying how much he loves me, but doesn't act accordingly. How do I react to this person?
If he is truly a narcissistic person, like you described, it's very, very complicated, because many narcissistic people are also very charming and charismatic and can make you feel really good to be around them. But of course, it's very dangerous. And I think when he says something, believe him. If he says, how do you feel about an open relationship? Believe him. He wants an open relationship. Do you want that? And don't delude yourself to think maybe he doesn't mean it. Maybe he cares about me more than he's expressing that he does. No, he's showing you what he has. It's a gift that you see this before you're married, and really try to envision the rest of your life with somebody who's going to be encouraging an open marriage and all the other things that you feel are not comfortable for you. That's going to be the way that'll be how it'll play out. Do you want it or not?
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. This is great. Okay, next question. Any recommendations for managing dating burnout? For 15 years, I've tried dating websites, apps. I even paid significant amounts of money to work with a matchmaker over the past year. Unfortunately, I either meet people who are not ready for a relationship, or I'm set up with people who are not appealing to me. At this point, it often feels easier to be alone, even though it's not my ultimate goal. I feel like a fully formed person at this stage, and I'm very fulfilled by my occupational and social life. I would appreciate having a partner to share life with, but if I could find one, no luck so far. What do you think? Thank you.
I think this is such an understandable question and a very common stance for people to be in. I would say half of my friends feel that way, and I could completely understand it, that burnout. But what it leads to is little effort in dating, and my fear is the loss of opportunities that could be life-changing. I know that didn't answer the question, though. Rabbi Bernath, would you weigh in on this?
It's a hard one, because you're right. I'm in the middle of writing a book, and this question is really weighing very, very heavy on me. And it's been probably one of the most difficult processes that I've ever gone through. I'll tell you the title of the book and you'll get what it's about. It's called Why Bother Getting Married? And
that's that question in a nutshell.
It's that question in a nutshell. And it's a question that I think is the spoken and unspoken question of this generation. For whatever reason, we don't know. For whatever reason, I believe you that these people that you're getting set up with are not serious. For whatever reason, it could be because a lot of us come from divorced homes. It could be that we don't have positive role models for relationships. It could be so many factors. And one of the reasons why I say I'm still in the middle of writing it is because I've rewritten it about 10 times already, because it's such a complicated question.
Can't wait to see the ultimate answer.
And I don't have an answer yet.
There is no ultimate answer.
I'm up to Act 3. I don't know. And maybe the answer is there's no ultimate answer, and I have to understand that this is a generation that doesn't have the answer to this question. Maybe that's the answer. But what I say to you is that all the things that you've done for all these years, all the money you've spent, all the things you've tried, they're not in vain. They're one step closer to your person. I promise you, there is someone out there for you. Some of us have an easier time in school. Some of us have an easier time at work. Some of us have an easier time with relationships. Some of us had a harder time at school, harder time at work, harder time at relationships. For some reason, God made it that part of your purpose in this world, part of your challenge, because a great challenge means that it's a great purpose. Part of your great challenge that will lead to your great purpose in this world is finding your person. So whatever money you've spent, whatever time you've spent, it's not in vain. There is someone out there. I still wholeheartedly believe in marriage. Part of it is you have to look at your 50%, and then you can look and find the other 50%. Make sure you have your 50% intact. But one of the things you said there that really struck me is that I don't need it. You said, I have a good social life. Everything is good for me. I've got a good career. You don't need it. I think if you don't need something, it's a good idea, but are you going to go run and look for it? Maybe not. And that's where you're going to get burnt out. You're not getting burnt out. You're just finding satisfaction somewhere else and not in this. But maybe this is your tafkid. Maybe this is your purpose. And so it's very easy to just revel in the things that are just coming naturally to you. Good social life, I'm happy for you. A good career, fantastic. But obviously you're here and you keep asking that question because you have this burning question. You're not asking the question because you decided, oh, they asked me for a question, I'm going to ask. This question is emotionally charged. And if it's emotionally charged, it is part of your purpose. And there is someone out there. And it's so interesting. I'm getting a lot of private messages of people disagreeing with me on this. I love that. I love that. Somebody just wrote me just now. I'll just give you one of them. There's about 8 of them here. And one of them is, I don't know if I agree with that sentiment, Rabbi. As we know, there are only 2 guarantees in life, death and taxes. Hopefully I'll see past that. And maybe one day I'll find love. If there's one message that at least I can share with you tonight is there really is someone out there for you. For some people, it may have come easier. I'm happy for them. For some people, it comes harder. But there is someone out there. Don't give up. Don't, whatever you do, don't give up. It's as hard as it is. Don't give up. There is really someone out there for you. Rebbitzin Holtzkenner, we're going to have to do this again because we have so many questions that are still coming in and so many that are not answered from before. And our time is basically up. So for those of you who want to get the Rebbitzin's help finding a match, maybe you've tried everything. Some of you have said that, but you haven't tried. I can't imagine that person has tried this Rebbitzin. We're going to, when we send you in the email this recording for you to go over, we'll also send you a link to be able to sign up. And there's so many ways to find your match. People are saying match me. They want you to match them. So
with Hashem's help, that was the greatest honor and pleasure. Somebody also put on the chat just the basic link, which is not basic, the wonderful magical link to jmatchmaking.com. So that is the link, jmatchmaking.com. Maybe I'll put it right here where you can sign up.
Do you have a private link?
And I have a private link that I can also put a Google form.
Okay. So why don't you put it there if anybody...
Okay. I'm going to put it there as well. I'm going to find
absolutely.
it.
And Holtzkenner, thank you so much for being here tonight and for your time and for your fantastic answers. And really, the world needs you and needs all the help that you're giving to so many singles. So keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi Bernath. Thank you for facilitating this and for literally dedicating your life's work to matching people and help so many people find their soulmate and not giving up hope, not for other people. And that also, I think, when you have somebody who believes in you and your future, I know for me, when there's somebody who believes in me and is optimistic about my life, it makes me feel safe to do the same. So thank you for that gift as well.
Thank you. Do you want to end with a blessing, since it's before Yom Kippur? Do you want to end with a little blessing for everyone?
Yes, sure. And the last questioner was talking about having a full life and still thinking about putting in the effort to have that, to find that special person, to find your person. And that's exactly what God did. God was perfect independently. And yet God went through so much effort to create otherness, to create us who he could have a relationship with. And that's what Yom Kippur is about as well. It's about strengthening the love and the relationship between us and God, even though God is perfect on his own. And we all should be perfect and fulfilled on our own, and yet still muster up that courage for those of us who need it to pursue otherness and the meaning that comes from having a relationship with otherness, and having tremendous success, the ultimate success in that pursuit and that effort.
Thank you. Amen. Amen. This is a great time. We ask for what we want, and Hashem will grant us this year. This is your year, everyone here. This is your year. This is it.
Amen.
Thank you so much for being here, and we have to do it again sometime.
Yes.